there's a whole generation of architects, planners, lawyers, engineers, landscape architects, builders, scientists that are all involved with CNU, that are all under the age of 35. And they're really passionate people about making a difference and really moving the charter forward as fast as possible. And they're realizing it's really going to be up to them. So I think they've been inspired enough from what we've seen in Atlanta and what we're hearing now about the economy that we think we can make a difference. And if we're going to save the world, we have to start now.
Well, we changed the format of the Congress this year to have less sessions, longer sessions, to have more in-depth conversations, and I think I really like it this way.
I've been a member of CNU since 1994. Yeah. So I signed the charter. I was there early on, and have never stopped coming.
So many people have been working really hard to make this a success, and we know that the new urbanists are a little suspicious of Atlanta, and it is absolutely fabulous to be able to show off our city in places like Glenwood Park right here, which, I think surprise a lot of new urbanists didn't really expect to see that there actually are wonderful places in Atlanta. I always learn. I mean, I came to my first CNU. I was as an academic spy. I'd heard Liz and Andres give a lecture, and I was intrigued with the ideas, but I just looked at Seaside, and my initial reaction was, what's this Disney-fied, nostalgic? Who are these poser fakers? I really went to my first CNU feeling like I wanted to find out what was going on. And I learned so much. I've never missed one since. This is my 15th CNU. I just learn an enormous amount. It helps me be a better teacher, and I'm a professor. That's what I do.
I was so moved by the arguments that were raised today. It's ours to address. We have to address this issue of accessible units, accessible housing, and because we're all changing, we're aging. And particularly the idea of these kids coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and the aging of the population in general, and it's a 21st century constraint that we have to provide for. And so the rigor of this organization to be able to take something that on the face of it seems to be a contradiction with where it's come from, and be willing to embrace that and evolve. It's a live organization that's constantly evolving in its philosophy, and that's why I'm happy to be part of it.
There was a lot of breakthroughs at this CNU for a lot of people, realizing that we have a lot more of the solutions than we thought, and that we just need to start telling those stories in a different way. I mean, urbanism is a great economic development tool, and that should be our new economy bumper sticker. Like, we're going forward, urbanism is what's going to help move us forward in a sustainable and a more resilient way.
What I really like about the CNU is being here with Russ Preston, because he's the next generation of builder-developer who's just changing the way that everybody's thinking about it, because it's going to really work if younger people get involved, and that's what I would like to see.
Well, thank you. No, it's great to be here. This is my first CNU, which is kind of odd because I've been following the organization since its founding, but somehow or other I've waited until now to actually show up. So shame on me. But it's great to be here because I have so many friends here, and colleagues and co-professionals, and half of them I've never met, I've only corresponded with, so it's great finally meeting them. I spoke in a session, actually in two different sessions at the Congress, on an issue that I'm very concerned with, which is the interface between new urbanism and historic preservation. I teach for the University of Notre Dame in Rome, and one of the things you learn when you live in Rome is how new and old become very hard to tell apart. And one of the things that we're interested in doing in new urbanism, of course, is creating new communities that have some of the qualities of the historic communities that we love. And of course, that makes a common cause with a lot of people in the preservation movement. So I'm really trying to explore ways to bring those two fields into closer harmony.
Okay, this particular CNU has actually been very unique in the sense that it was the emergence of open source. And what that amounts to is this is something that NextGen has been doing for actually 2 or 3 years. But the basic idea is this time it's actually emerged from NextGen to be something more out in the open, where where everyone can actually participate in it. and it's really the essence of what the Congresses were about at the beginning, and that is anybody who has an idea about something, you just simply say, hey, I've got an idea, I'm going to put it up on the board. If it attracts people, then that's great. If it doesn't, then so be it, and it doesn't. And so it's simply the virtue of the idea that determines whether it spreads or not. And that's such a fascinating thing, because it's the ideas that spread that we need to be basing what we're doing on. Because if we're just sitting over here in some academic corner and we have things that entertain us from an intellectual viewpoint, but it doesn't spread beyond us, we haven't really done any good. And so at the micro level, the idea of the ideas that spread at the Congress is sort of a microcosm of what we need to be doing around the world. And that is to be coming up with things and not just simply, the core ideas and principles of the new urbanism we've known for quite some time, or at least some of them. But here's another thing. This has also been the Congress of not just the emergence of open source, but also the emergence of agricultural urbanism. Or agrarian urbanism is what Andres is now calling it. And last year there was one session on it. Of course, as long as I've been doing original green sessions at the Congress for several years, that's been the foundation of, the first foundation of sustainable places is what I call a nourishable place. So, but back then that was the only time you would hear about it. And so I'm so delighted that I actually lost count of how many sessions there were on agrarian urbanism. I know there were at least 3 big sessions, but there was more than that. And so I actually don't know the total count, but it's so great to see this actually becoming a part of it, because, if you can't eat there, you can't live there.
Well, what's fascinating about this year is that the organization is really maturing and is influencing policy at every level of government, including the Obama administration. You've got mayors here, you've got people from other organizations, government organizations, and universities. So it's getting very, very influential. I think it's very important for professionals to understand what new urbanism is all about. More than that, I think it's important to understand why these are the principles that new urbanism delivers are the ones that are responding to things like climate change and carbon policies and the health issues that are starting to become very serious in this country, and the economic issues. We all know there's been a meltdown that started in the far out suburbs of the United States, and so these issues that have been in the past have been sort of framed as ecological issues or social issues are now very much economic issues that we have to get a handle on, and new urbanism gives a set of tools to deal with those challenges and to actually respond effectively to them. Although it's developing, it's not perfect, but it's developing.
I think it really was a year of coming back from a recession, new partnerships with the CDC, the idea of really kind of understanding the impact that great urbanism can have on health. It's been an exciting year and a busy one for us, certainly a lot of long days, but when you get here, it's all worth it, so it's been really exciting.
And I know that this was your last Congress as a board member?
Yes, ma'am. So now in Madison, I just get to go and do what I want to do when I want to do it. Won't have any responsibilities. It's going to be freeing. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Okay.